Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to the Summit 4 China qualifiers. This is a qualification match. We're in the upper bracket and it's Vici Gaming versus EHOME, best of 5. Promises to be an extremely hype matchup. So let's pretty much get straight into it. I'm Basskip. I'm going to be joined not by Winter, but it is going to be Mr. Parkerino, BTS GoDz. GoDz, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. How's it going, Basskip?
Yeah, doing really well. I'm super excited for this match. I really am. So
yeah,
should be good.
Yeah, me too. I set the alarm. It wasn't even on like my sleep schedule, but I was like, I've got to watch Vici versus EHOME best of 5. So good thing I was awake. But hopefully Winter will be hopping in later because I'm a little bit sleepy.
Where is he? I don't know. He was AWOL the other day. It's just Winter things, right?
Just Twitch viewers, feel free to tweet your views at Winter Dota. Let him know you're disappointed, but. No, I'm sure something came up. But Winter, since leaving the LA house, has been a lot harder to reach sometimes. But hey, it happens.
Oh well.
So,
okay.
All right, Vici Gaming versus EHOME Game 1. I'm excited. Last time these two teams met in Nanyang, the first time in the winner bracket it was pretty one-sided, but it was a much closer lower bracket final and some really great Dota between the two teams.
Yeah, if you just looked at the records for those two matches, I think you would have the impression that Vici come in with a pretty sizable advantage, but I'm not so sure. You know, some of those games were, especially the second best of 3 that you were talking about, were pretty down to the wire, and were some amazing quality Dota like you were mentioning. So we'll have to see how this best of 5 goes. I wonder if the extended format is going to favor one team or the other. I guess that'll have to be. That'll remain to be seen. The one thing for Vici, I think end is ZYF or YJ, so they're not playing with Burning, they're playing with their stand-in instead, or their sub. So I guess that is going to affect matters a little bit.
Ooh, that's interesting. In a pretty big match. Okay, so Zinfei is not Burning?
No.
Okay.
No,
huh.
Don't think so.
Well, Vici Gaming will have their work cut out for them then. And they've also given away EHOME 11th Tusk, which is pretty beastly.
Which is nuts. I'm actually really surprised to see that let through. They're continuing with this Spirit Breaker ban that they've been doing consistently against EHOME for like for their last 5 matches. But yeah, the Shadow Fiend gets prioritized over the 11 Tusk, which was notoriously crazy at Nanyang. Had that one game where he just went ballistic and kind of won the whole game by himself, so I'm very surprised to see that let through.
Yeah, they have kind of got like the first big Queen of Pain, something that's mobile, less prone to going down to a snowball. Dazzle, who can sit back and help out whoever gets snowballed upon. But I mean, Tusk is always going to be a great tempo controller. Just is such a versatile hero because of his skill set. So I don't think EHOME care that Vici have heroes that are slightly okay at dealing with a Tusk.
Yeah, and EHOME even take away the Undying from Vici as well. We've been seeing lots of Undying bans against Vici kind of in recent memory. And EHOME are wasting no time at all. Vici's already dug into their reserve time a little bit, and EHOME are just firing back. No hesitation whatsoever. I mean, get rid of the Beastmaster and the Broodmother, target some stuff at Ice, and Vici just take the Darkseer, but looks like EHOME's still ready with the plan in mind. And this lineup fights so well in the early to mid game. This is actually terrifying, I think, if you're Vici.
Yeah, and I think that's partially why they get the Bristleback, is to get some fight of their own. We've seen a bit of Bristleback actually played in the European scene from the mid lane, so I wonder if this will even be perhaps a mid-Bristle, safe lane Queen of Pain. Either way, whether it's safe lane Bristle or safe lane Quap, they're guaranteeing that Bristle will get some guaranteed early farm, and a hero that does tank up and fight pretty decently early on. Not as good against the Tombstone as he once was, because even when you stack up the Warpath, it's still going to take a lot of right clicks to bring down the Tomb, as opposed to just being able to like 2 or 3 shot it with a lot of base damage, so not quite as good against the Undying as he once was anymore.
Yeah, and so where do you think this puts the mech? I know that a lot of the Chinese teams do actually like to put the mech on Bristleback a decent amount, but
I think Darkseer's still fine.
I guess it depends on who's going to get it fast, right? I think either way they need it fast, because EHOME are going to come knocking really early.
Yeah, I guess it depends how badly Darkseer's getting bullied out of his lane, and I think all in all, though, it's just going to fit a bit nicer on the Darkseer. Bristleback can go for just more straight-up survivability in like a Vanguard SMY type build. But if Darkseer's really struggling and it's going to... Bristleback will farm it in a good time, maybe he can get it himself.
Yeah, so I guess we are... I wonder what we're looking at here. I mean, it's probably just Quap mid, Darkseer off lane, maybe Bristleback safe. It's kind of a weird lane for him, but at the same time, I guess you have to think about what EHOME are going to be doing with their lanes, and that could be a Tusk Undying kind of a setup, making its way towards the off lane. So maybe you want the Queen of Pain there instead, and it is super picking at the Bristleback, so who knows? They have to now try and dodge the Viper with the Bristleback, and yeah, there's all kinds of shenanigans going on. This last pick Viper actually looks really potent right now, because it's very solid against the
play and run a lot.
Yes, really solid against the Quap and the Bristle.
I think they may still just be sending Bristle mid, even though it's a slightly unfavorable matchup. I mean, the few times I've seen this Bristle go mid against Vipers in the past, I've always been like, oh, it's going to be a kind of bad matchup, Viper will crush it. But Bristle still seems to get good farm. It's just a matter of not going down once the Viper hits level 6 to make sure your lane doesn't go too horribly wrong. So I'll be curious to see. It looks like Super is headed towards the mid lane, despite knowing it will be a 1v1 against Old Chicken's Viper.
Yeah, a couple of early shenanigans coming out. Ice has already made his way down and planted down a ward that's just going to block the pull through here, and it's in kind of a spot that EHOME are, I think, somewhat unlikely to deward it, because you're often expecting that it's going to be, if this camp is blocked, you think, all right, it's in the back of the camp, and you know, you may even try and sentry it down on the low ground instead, but Super's pinging the ward. He's got some opinions on it, who knows, but
dubious choice of word. What were you doing?
he's looking at Ice's handiwork. He's like, what are you up to here, buddy?
Yeah. Maybe just pinging some heroes, you never know. Maybe like, oh, it's an amazing ward, Ice. Keep up the good work, good hustle. That's a good start to this best of 5. That ward setting the tempo we needed to take this win. So who knows? EHOME themselves go in for a deep ward. They block the pull camp for Vici Gaming. Ooh, went for the Sleight of Fist bounty rune still, CTY. Doesn't get it at bottom though. Nice attempt.
This is going to leave him with Sleight of Fist at level 1, which I don't know if that's necessarily ideal for him, but...
He's got a Skywrath in his lane who's just so good at zoning that they don't have the kill potential of a Searing Chain of the Searing Chains with the Flame Guard, but as far as zoning and farming goes, he'll be just fine.
Yeah. Ice gets a little bit of help to start this lane out with the Fisher block coming across from FY's Earthshaker, so this is a pretty good start for the Darkseer, and we were talking about being a little bit worried about his mech timing, but I think even with just this little bit of help, this should help ensure that, more or less. He didn't bring double regen or anything, he's actually got double clarity here. And this Skywrath Mage harassment is going to hurt pretty bad, so...
Yeah. Oh, he had Salvan Tango, so he should be alright.
Yeah, some people even against the Skywrath will bring like double Tango and a Salve, but we'll see what he goes for build-wise here.
Gonna Iron Shell himself up. It looks like he wants to start manning up and fighting now with the big creep wave advantage.
Yeah, he's got so many range creeps. Well, he's got 2 range creep. It's pretty hard to fight him, so that makes sense. We had a Fisher block on top, but just some harassment onto 11, so it looks like VG going to be running the full defensive tri-lane here just to make sure that they get some farm on the Queen of Pain. That is going to hurt her levels a little bit overall, but I think the guaranteed farm is worth it, and there isn't really anything else that these other supports can do. I mean, maybe the Dazzler could go and try and help out mid with the Bristle, but I think it's actually just more important that the Bristle gets levels and whatnot. Snowball top, 11 just dodging a Shadow Strike with that. Nice little play, but...
This Bristle will be just fine, 1v1 for now. He's just going to spam Bottle Crow, grab runes when he can, and until Viper hits level 6, there's not a huge risk to his life unless he severely misplays it. And I think the big scare is that Undying Tusk lane. A lane we saw a ton going back to like a couple patches ago, and it would beat any dual lane and even some tri lane. So that's where Vici Gaming want to make sure they don't get beaten down by this pesky duo.
Yeah, they've done really well for themselves as well. They brought up a sentry, they managed to unblock their pull, so they're starting to just build up a little bit of an advantage, denying some experience to the dual lane. 11's still getting a couple of CS here and there, but YJ doing a good job of getting in some denies, and I think they're managing this really nicely. Ice not getting as much farm as I expected on bottom lane, and cty just going to be a nuisance with that Sleight of Fist point. Does end up canceling Ice's second clarity, so... Looks like they're doing alright so far, but Ice has managed to reach level 3 now, so... I think he'll be okay moving forward, but looks like he has been stalled somewhat by the dual lane.
If he really wants, he can rotate into the jungle, because he's not getting too much farm in the lane. He's just getting a bit of XP here and there with only 6 CS, but for now he's actually rotating into the Radiant jungle of all places. Possibly looking to see if there's any stacks or anything, but either way, it's at least like the adequate enough levels that he's got options. He can help out some of the other lanes, he can stay in the off lane, he can go jungle. See another snowball dodge from 11 at top lane, and he's really giving Vici Gaming a rough time with it. Well, not so much a rough time with the Trallon, but he's just not giving them any openings to go on him.
Yeah, and especially dodging this level 2 Shadow Strike. It's a pretty big deal. Kaka, a bit of trouble, still has a Soul Rip and a Decay. Only gets it out onto 1, it's just more harassment, more regen being traded, really, overall. And VG are coming out well ahead in the regen battle right now. CYF still has a salve, they've got double tango on each of their supports. And meanwhile, for the EHOME side, it's just a mango apiece and a little bit of Soul Rip help. So even with the dodges, they are still getting kind of chipped away at here, which is just the nature of the Queen of Pain in lane.
Super going to contest this bottom rune. Skywrath, I think, realizing without boots, he's actually going to lose that battle. Gets the Viper to come in to help him out, though. And oh, actually, Super doesn't get the rune in there.
Yeah, I thought Super was closer. Now CTY is rotating in, gets the chains off onto 2. Super really getting slowed down. Ice is going to try for the surge away, but the body block, CTY almost going down, I think, to that last Quill Spray, but Ice with one last auto attack still finishes him, and Old Chicken will be able to continue the pursuit. Looks like they're going to bring down 2 cores. Really disastrous rune for Vici Gaming there.
Yeah.
And top lane, we're
Super
not done.
so
11's
indecisive.
totally blocked in. Tries for the TP, but he's just gone. Alright, so 2 for 2 all over the map. Not the worst, but...
Yeah, Ember with the first blood, though, and Viper get with a follow-up kill.
Yeah.
And this Bristleback's going to have a really rough time now. Viper's going to hit level 6 off of that. He's about half a level ahead of the Bristleback. Not the biggest discrepancy in experience, but once the level 6 Viper Strike comes out, this Bristle may just straight up die if there's any kind of a rotation, even without a rotation.
Yeah. It is really going to get rough. And they don't have the support stacking or anything, Old Chicken, considering running up the hill, but he knows that there's still some bottle sips. So it does need to be a little bit careful. His build is also quite aggressive. Only the 1 point in the corrosive skin so far, so it has to be a little bit more careful as a result. But.
Yeah. I like this build against the Bristle. I think you want to go more aggressive. You don't benefit as much from the corrosive when it's physical damage output from a Bristleback anyways.
Yeah. And you just want to punish him every single time he tries to come up to the wave and get CS. Gotta push that lane domination angle as much as you possibly can.
This guy's actually rotated top here. It looks like EHOME really want to try set something up in the top lane, but there is a dire ward here that may scout out the Skywrath fairly soon.
Yeah, and they've got the snowball into Ancient Seal actually to get the Ancient Seal off, and looks like he might still be alright. There's going to be a grave. Not quite enough lockdown, only level 3 on the Tusk. Nice attempted rotation, but the Dazzle doing exactly what it's meant to there and helps keep the relatively fragile Queen of Pain alive.
That's a pretty high-risk gank. Like, the only way that works is if Dazzle is off-pulling and out of position for that grave, and that's where EHOME don't need to go for that play. I guess they feel confident that CTY's okay on his own at the bottom lane, but he's getting pressured quite heavily. Ice now level 6 is actually level for level with CTY and putting a lot of pressure onto the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and there's only 1 point in the Flame Guard as well, so the Iron Shell's going to dispel that super quickly. He should know that the Earthshaker's down here, but
wow,
still just going to get totally blown up.
That just happened too fast.
Yeah, 11.
11 was even ready for the counterplay. Like, if Ice died, he was like, oh, I'll TP in, but that fissure wall just instantly blew him up with the vacuum.
Yeah, did he even take... no, it looks like just the one instance of the Wall of Replica damage. I was wondering if he summoned the illusion and then maybe changed it and it died and he was still on the wall and just took the damage again, but it was... they had more than enough burst to kill him. And that was even with him knowing that the Earthshaker was down there, just kind of too squishy on the Ember, and a really nice rotation out of FY.
He at least had the Remnant down so he can come right back to lane, and with the Tusk, it looks like they want to go for a kill here at bottom.
Yeah, FY still got a Fissure to disengage. Ice is a little bit low on mana. Snowball comes in, bunch of Remnant damage. Fissure opens up some space, but Ice is not going to be able to use it to get away. So still keeping things very even here in the early game. 3-3 the kill score so far.
Yeah, and that's one of those ice deaths where it's like, well, he dies, he's got a lot of experience and farm out of this lane. cdec.y had to use a triple remnant as well as a lot of HP and mana to get the kill, so when he returns back to this lane, it's going to be suddenly a lot easier, and there's a lot less of a kill threat coming out from the Ember Spirit, so a somewhat acceptable death for a Darkseer in the off lane.
And knowing that the Tusk is bottom, you can play a little bit more aggressively on top, for example. Super just gonna run in and clubs down 11, who is trying to get on this 8-minute rune, but just too many Vici heroes in the neighborhood. Super's clearing at Ancients right now.
Yep.
Lamb wipes the double damage, looking for ZYF. He still has some bottle slips, actually gonna turn around, looking to deal damage right back. He's still got stick charges. The right-click battle continues. Can he get one more Arcane Bolt off? He does, but 18 health. Enough for End to get that kill and back himself out. That was very close. Yeah.
It's slightly unnecessary. I guess if the Scarith gets the kill, it's a huge pickup, so he's thinking like this is just like a not necessarily a game-winning pick-off, but like a really crippling pick-off for a Queen of Pain. Safe lane Queen of Pain going down to a support, and that would give Scarith like a level 6 instantly, so risky bet. It was high reward.
Yeah, and I think he was just relying. Well, he was hoping that the double damage was going to be the big deciding factor, but that honestly could have gone either way. I don't think either player necessarily knew that, like, oh, I'm entering into this and I'm definitely gonna win. ZYF was just gambling on the fact that it was
not like an obvious. Yeah, not an obvious bait or anything. Even though he had the 1 charges, I think Scarith was like, well, I know you've got 1 charges, but I think I can DPS through this, so. Ancients do get farmed, and with that, Bristleback completes a Vanguard 9 minutes in the game. Boots Vanguard, which means definitely a Darkseer mech, and Ice is farming at a pretty decent rate right now. The big breadwinner is this Viper, though. Viper is got a tier 1 tower now, a lot of farm. Yeah, he's massive.
Yeah, but EHOME really gonna have to flex this Viper as much as they can. Take that early lead and just continue to pressure them. I mean, they've already brought down tier 1 on mid, so starting to get some extra gold flowing into the hands of their extra heroes, and it's for Vici the question is going to be when exactly they choose to take that first big fight, because it's not like they're looking to necessarily outscale. I think they are a little bit more defensive on the whole, just with their hero composition, but yeah, they still want to try and take that one crucial fight and start turning the game around at some point. Gotta jump in bottom lane. FY caught out a little bit. Still a Grave available. Ice is going to come running in, but he's only got 1 point in the vac. And does need to be a little bit careful. Surge wearing off. Super charging in with the Vanguard. Feeling a little bit more confident.
They're going to see this Viper in the front lines and just be scared. Even though you've got a Vanguard Bristleback in the front lines, like this Viper will just chip away at him slowly, and you can't run past the Viper. Like, he is just going to like be the big old bruiser who's going to keep everyone away. So if Viper's in the front lanes, I don't think Vici Gaming can take a fight right now.
Yeah, and for EHOME's lineup is also really difficult to escape from as well. That's the thing that you have to be careful of for Vici. You know, you commit in, Ice Shards are going to stop you leaving, Side of Fist Chains is going to stop you leaving, the Viper slows, the concussive shot. So they're really going to have to be smart about which engagements they take. We've got a gank coming top lane, Land looking to loop around, he's got 2 points in the Ancient Seal, and was looking for this kill on Kaka, but it's going to get turned around on him. Kaka survives, and that is a big pickoff going 11's way.
That's the Sonic Wave also on cooldown, so a lot of big problems there. cdec.y at bottom, getting very low.
Out. He's getting burned down.
There's a 3rd remnant. He'll use all 3 to escape. It looks like.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
That's what they're there for, but
yeah, we're still running in for the north, but yeah, it's a pretty big investment. Doesn't even have a remnant to get back out into a lane. I guess he's got his TP scroll, but pretty expensive for him overall.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Across the board, Vici Gaming, though, they would love to get this tier 1 bottom tower. They're doing this while the Queen of Pain ultimate's on cooldown. It looks like Vici Gaming are going to look to position to defend their top tier 1 as well, so no trade in sight for now for EHOME, but they are TPing more heroes up towards top. Old Chicken has completed his mech, which may mean he will head top to join up with his team and apply some pressure.
Yeah, that should hopefully be the catalyst. They're looking to burst Fenrir, I think. A couple of pings coming out of 11. He's got this Invis Rune, he's got his Walrus Punch now, so might be able to get this. I think there is still a Dire Ward that's just scouting out these rotations towards top, but they're might not know about this 11 Invisor necessarily. They see ZYF blink forward, it's right into 11, and everything's going to be on cooldown for such a long time. Fenrir unable to get in range for the Grave. Has 2 points in it, but it's not going to be enough. Looks like a few more auto attacks going to bring him down. Just buys some time with the Grave, but he's definitely dead. There are some more Vici Gaming heroes heading up, but Ice won't be able to do anything, and looks like they're just going to have to totally forfeit this tower.
Dire's top tower
This is
under
not
attack.
looking like
Dire's
a good position to be in for
structures
Vici Gaming. They've got all this farm
Radiant's
and
middle tower is under
prioritization towards the Bristleback, but we're not really seeing Super able to fight. He's just going to get kited around badly by the Viper. Instead, he's going for some split push plays, and now they're actually going to gank him out in the mid lane. Super thrown up in the air. The Walrus Punch is there. cdec has a chain still, and I don't think he can take this one. He may get 1 kill on his way out. We'll bring down the Skywrath Mage. No chance of getting cdec as well. A 1-for-1, but EHOME get the more important kill.
Yeah, by far. And still holding on to their tier 1, it's really healthy. And yeah, I have to agree with you. We see the Vanguard up in the Bristle, you see the mech over on the Ice Darts here, but it still kind of feels like Vici haven't been able to put together anything to take a fight. A lot of it has come down to initiation so far. I mean, they've really been the ones jumped for the last couple of minutes. And for them, they need a much more structured fight. They need to have everybody behind the Bristle. Bristle needs to have an Ion Shell. They need to have the mech at the ready, the Grave at the ready. And EHOME just kind of denying that to them with their initiation and the way that things have been starting out.
And ideally, they need to be hitting like a multiple hero fissure into Sonic Wave. We haven't seen that. Queen of Pain even really rock up to a fight. The 2 kills that En's got have been in that kind of just safe lane off on like single target pickoffs.
Yeah, Vici with the smoke coming in, looking for something. Kaka still manages to get down the tombstone, healing up a little bit off the decay, and he's still full HP with the soul rip. Wall gets dropped, and looks like they will be able to focus down the tomb. Ice being isolated. FY running in, that's gonna actually get the silence over onto him, but he still manages to drop the echo. Do they have enough damage? They're all inside the snowball. Old Chicken dropping very low. FY still alive, courtesy of the Grave. That's 2 down so far, and no casualties from Vici. Kaka looking to keep on fighting here, but Ice burning him down. And looks like it is going to be a 3-for-1 end of the day. FY managing to drop all of his spells, so not even all that unhappy about going down. And still getting a lot of golden experience, I think.
I mean, that fight started quite bad for Vici Gaming. They didn't do any damage. The Viper mech healed everyone up. And then on top of that, like, the Echo Slam missed because of the snowball. That snowball was super clutch, but Vici Gaming had so much sustain. The mech on their side, as well as the constant shadow waves from the Dazzle, just kept healing them up, and EHOME didn't have the damage they needed to get any kills.
Yeah, that was not a great fight.
Little fight.
cdec
defends a courier.
Alright, so it gets something at the very least. He's picked up the phase boots here, so we're not going to be seeing that that Boots of Travel build that's been fairly common of late. I'm not sure if that's just a cdec preference thing, or if that's sort of the, a state of the game thing that they're just deciding, alright, look, we needed to have these early fighting items, but still no big departure after that. It's just going to be going straight for the Battle Fury. Picks up a Perseverance here.
It's helped him out in a couple of situations when he's been on the run, but we haven't really seen him... Like, that fight, he shows up, not necessarily late, but he shows up and his team just isn't really in good fighting shape. It's the Vici Gaming side with the armor advantage coming out from the Weave and just the better sustain with Dazzle as well as the Darkseer mech, who come out on top.
Yeah, the Sonic Wave is really nice as well. I was looking at the damage at the end of the fight. Queen of Pain up there around 2k. Ice as well, surprisingly, just had Ion Shells on everybody for the entire duration, and I think not being able to burst him was a really big problem for EHOME. And again, just comes back to that initiation idea. Vici were the first ones there. They were the ones that got the jump, and EHOME had to kind of back up as they were trying to take that.
EHOME didn't really burst or focus anyone. I felt like they were very much like reacting, and in the moment of panic, it was never like any clear call. Like, this hero is the hero that we have to kill and focus down first. They had focused the tomb. That was the one call it seemed they made, and then after the tomb went down, there was no clear game plan to win that team fight.
But they do at least stop the EHOME advance a little bit. Tier 1 tower still standing on top, so starting to fight back. Looking at the net worth, there's pretty much no lead at all at the moment for either side. There is a little bit of an experience lead in Vici's favor after that last fight, but still not a whole lot to talk about on that front, though. EHOME still feel like they are the lineup with more pressure on them to get things done, especially if this Viper starts to stall a little bit, though. Old Chicken has picked up Gloves of Haste, and he's got 1,500 gold banked, so looks like his answer might be just heading into a Hand of Midas and being ready to take this a little bit later if that ends up being the case.
Yeah. And Bristleback seems to be this hero that hits these kind of weird power curves where he gets really strong, like kind of in the early game for a little bit, and then he kind of falls off, and then he comes back online again when he gets like a couple items like an SMY plus BKB, but then ultra late game he really struggles. Like the few core Bristlebacks I've seen the last few days, it's been run mid by S4 as well as Vega. It just could not fight in the ultra late game, despite having a good start before that. Top lane, Vacuum Wall comes out. They've gone in on EHOME here. They need some kind of chase here. Where's the Queen of Pain? Looks like EHOME for now just looking to back off, heal themselves back up, supercharging, and has a haste rune of all things. He's looking to wreak havoc here, gets thrown up in the air by a Warrior's Punch. The mech gonna come through to heal him up. Nice 2-hero fissure, and 11 and Old Chicken both in trouble here. Super just ignoring the tusk, running further forward. That haste rune though gonna wear off, and we'll be a little bit careful here. Super getting low underneath the T1 tower. Without a haste rune, he may just go down. He's got no TP during the grave, and that grave gonna wear off soon. It looks like he may go down. The heals are there, just barely enough sustain. He gets out of the Skywrath Mystic Flare as well. 0 for 0. Despite like both teams dishing out like 4 to 5k damage, no one goes down.
Yeah, crazy fight in
I guess
Ice.
it's not done yet.
He's not done. He wants to surge in, wants to do some more Ion Shell damage. Needs to be careful. There's a snowball. There's actually plenty to catch him. There's the Ice Shards as well. Do they have another grave? No, it's still 5 seconds on cooldown. And not a whole lot of mana left on Fenrir. And now ZYF's in some trouble. Silence stop. Now the grave comes out, but not really helping all that much. FY wants to drop an Echo Slam, but he won't be able to. Just getting right-clicked down as EHOME sustain through with the Urn, with the mech, and the Soul Repeal, and do end up taking that fight 2 for nothing. But that was totally Vici's decision to re-engage there.
They tried to re-engage with the Quap ulti, because Quap was like mid-cast animation and then got silenced, so they never got the Quap ultimate off. If they got like another Fissure plus Quap ulti with a Darkseer Vacuum, for example, it would have been great, but Darkseer in the front lines got brought down too low, Quap got silenced and then had to blink away from a Tombstone, so everything kind of fell apart on the re-initiation. And EHOME, as you mentioned, a bit too much sustain.
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. Vici very reliant on that Queen of Pain ulti to actually burst anybody down. At least until they get the Blink Dagger up on the Earthshaker. I mean, Bristleback, sustained damage, Darkseer, sustained damage. So, if they want to do anything in the face of all the sustain, yeah, it's really going to come down to that Quap ulti. And I guess it is going to get easier once the BKB comes up over on end here.
Super at top. They get found out by Skywrath and Tusk, but they do not really have the ways to bring down a Super Bristleback.
Still running in. There's a Vacuum up out of the high ground. 11 picked up that Invis rune, but just gonna get bursted. They didn't want him blinking away or making any kind of escape. Alright.
Mid T1 tower getting low. They're going to Fissure Fold Chicken, prevent the deny, and could be in a little bit of trouble here with the Midas. He's a little bit squishier than you'd normally expect, and they are looking to continue to chase him down.
Yeah, Fisher's...
This is like Ice says better than any Darkseer player, which is Micro the Illusion. As he'll just spam the wall instantly for to start a fight off on a single hero, and then just Iron Shell and Surge the Illusions for that extra bit of damage. He does this more than any other Darkseer player that I've ever seen.
It's those old StarCraft 2 skills getting put to work.
I mean, sometimes I'll see the wall dropped, I'm like, was that really the wall to use? Like, just for that little bit of 50 to 100 damage that it does on impact, but he makes it work.
cdec.y, just be a nuisance. Top knows that the Queen of Pain is not going to be enough to force him back. And there isn't all that much lockdown on Vici either, so... Living life on the edge, but he doesn't have a Remnant out far enough away here, so Ice is going to go after one, throws it a second, gets vacuumed back, fissured, and, well, looks like a little bit of overconfidence from cdec.y. They may be losing track of where his other Remnant duration was at, and just kind of randomly dies. That's very awkward.
Yeah. That's not something you want to be... the Ember at this stage should be the invulnerable one who can just kind of split push anywhere on the map, not risk really going down. Does have enough money for his Battle Fury when he respawns, but... ultimately, it's the kind of kill that Vici Gaming will just eat up and be so happy to find.
Especially because the last hit was picked up by FY. I mean, look at his gold now. He's very close to Blink.
That's good news for Vici Gaming. It feels like this is a great game to have a fast Blink Earthshaker on, just because you need that bit of extra burst damage from an Echo. With Viper as tanky as he is, if you want to initiate and kill the Ember again when he's split pushing, that's kind of the answer. Is going to be a Blink Echo Slam before he can Remnant out.
Smoke reveals smoke. Ice here in the front lines. Bottom lane, meanwhile, Super's getting slowed down a little bit by the Viper Strike. ZYF does not have a blink away for a little bit, still holding on to his BKB for the time being. But are they going to let Super go? Looks like no. Ice drops the vac, drops the wall. Old Chicken actually drops very low off of that. Has some one charges, and that's going to give him enough mana to reactivate the mech. Kaka's still tanking through, but End right-clicking away with the BKB. They still haven't got to the tomb just yet, so that is stacking up. But EHOME have already lost 2. Looks like Tusk going down over by the rune fight, and Vici Gaming once again coming out ahead.
Yeah, that was... Tusk was actually in the middle of that Sonic Wave that came out as well. And they're looking for cdec.y. The Fissure won't latch, but Vici Gaming just... Darkseer arriving at the right time, and Ice is kind of the reason that fight gets turned around. It was starting off a bit poor for Vici Gaming with Super and N kind of overcommitting there, but they're tanky enough. They have the sustain from the BKB and the Bristleback while doing Bristleback things that there's so much time for Ice to arrive. With a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, EHOME were just fighting a bit too close to the Vici Gaming towers.
Yeah, and Bristleback has so much health as well. I think that was the... they're gonna jump in. Echo Slam gets dropped on an Old Chick in the vac as well. 11, I think, going in for the save with the snowball. Buys him a little bit of time. There's a silence on the FY. They pop out. Ice in the thick of things here, but not blocked in anymore by the Ice Shards. Are still working on the tower. But the tombstone's stacking up. Kaka running into the middle of everything here. Super has his back turn, but is that going to be enough? Gets caught by the chains. Fenrir, does he have the grave? He does. He's going to save Super here in the midst of everything, but he's still getting ticked down. ZYF jumps into the middle there, and will just be brought down by the snowball. Bunch of heroes jumping in from EHOME. Super also slated to fall, and that's going to be 2 big cores dead for Vici, and everybody else scattering to the winds.
I mean, these are some crazy team fights with both teams having such tanky frontliners in the Viper and the Bristleback, and then just insane damage output with Queen of Pain, Darkseer, the team fight wombo combo of Vici Gaming on the EHOME side. You've got the Skywrath, the Ember. And this one will go the way of EHOME. It still feels very back and forth between the two teams, and EHOME getting close to the Old Chicken BKB on Viper. He's the one in the front line, so the BKB will be very difficult to deal with and bring down. FY's Echo Slam was not... it was very much like, let's burst down this Viper and then we'll win anything that follows that fight, but they didn't actually bring down the Viper in time.
Yeah, it was even kind of reminiscent of what just happened bottom lane with EHOME going on the Bristleback and thinking that, okay, we've got enough to, keep whittling away at him to kind of get him out of the, take him out of the fight early, and just was not the case, and then the counter initiation ends up happening. We're getting some more item pickups along the way as well in the midst of all this crazy fighting. There's a Force Staff up on Kaka, we've got the Battle Fury on cdec.y. As you're mentioning, Old Chicken getting very close to his BKB. And looks like we might not be done with the fighting just yet, as Vici heads straight into the Roshan pit. Pretty bold, but they do have their Sonic Wave, they do have their BKB available here.
And Viper's BKB not here. He's trying to just get that last creep or two in the bottom lane, and we'll be flying out on the Courier. And if that arrives in time, I think we'll see EHOME come in to contest it, but Roche is dropping pretty damn fast. The Sigil proving to be a bit of a nuisance, though.
Yeah, there's the Tombstone on the high ground as well. This is a difficult place to fight. They're working on the Tomb on the high ground, and actually blinking up to deal with that, but Roshan in the meantime not taking any damage, and more heroes arriving soon. Super gets surged forward. They're actually looking for Kaka isolated off to the side, but the rest of the EHOME forces are going to come running in to the midst of everything. 11 trapped on the high ground, but he's still got the snowball to buy some time. The wall doing a little bit of damage. This fight's getting somewhat crazy. Ice dropping low, another shards comes out. 11 doing good work, but the EHOME heroes can't actually get into the pit to finish him off. He's blocked off. N comes in with the Sonic Wave. BKB, Old Chicken just going to stand and man fight here. Super doing the exact same. Fenrir, does he have a grave? No. It's already been used. That's going to be 2 cores down, and 2 for 2 so far this fight. Roshan still stands, and who is going to be left
and without
to claim
Bristle,
it?
they can't. Yeah, no Bristle, I guess no Viper as well, so neither team have any heroes to actually really finish Roche off with, despite how low it is. Whoa.
Yeah,
it was interesting, it was very split up, that fight. Clot was just chasing the Undying around, didn't actually kill him, but did prevent... I mean, Undying did, after his tomb died, he did not use a spell in that fight because of what the Queen of Pain did, and speaking of that, poor Undying gets thrown on a cliff, but does have a full staff to get down. So he's just kind of baiting around.
That's the value D-word while he's up there.
Yeah.
As well.
Thanks for the pull. I'll take that.
Alright.
And Vici Gaming, I imagine, may head right back towards this Roche pit. EHOME will be forced to kind of linger around, and they may not be... They're actually in pretty good fighting shape. Tusk still full HP and mana. He's got all his spells. Viper can also just instantly return, and will have a BKB once he gets back here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I really think the Queen of Pain play in that fight was probably what let Vici gaming down a little bit, because they'd already dealt with the tombstone from the Undying, and Fenrir gonna get caught out bottom lane, not in a safe enough position. He's just gonna get bursted under the silence, but Vici were smoked, looking for more. They jump in, they're gonna drop the stuns onto Old Chicken and Kaka, and Old Chicken manages to pop off the BKB, but he's just getting right-clicked down. ZYF blinking a little bit further forward. He's gonna look for more. They've also got the surged up Bristleback. 11 gets Glimmer Caped. He does have the blink at the ready, and as soon as the Queen of Pain leaps in, he is going to make his escape. So, 2 for 1, but this might mean that Vici Gaming are able to head in and finish up Roshan. They don't have the medallion from the Dazzle for another 10 seconds, but he's going to be back up soon, and there's a tier 1 tower waiting on bottom lane for him to TP in.
I'm looking to make another contest, though. They're sending in the Sigil for some vision, but I don't see this being possible without the Viper.
Yeah, I mean, it really looks like in this situation, best thing you can hope for is a CTY steal. FY in a little bit of trouble off to the side, but Ice with the wall, with the Vac, with the Greaves, helps keep him alive a little bit longer, and as ZYF comes jumping out, the Snowball buys a bit more space, but they've already lost the Skywrath Maid. Tusk manages to get the blink away, does not get hit by the Scream, but he's out of defensive options here. They have enough damage. Will be able to bring him down before the Snowball ends. CTY trying for an Eternal NB play, goes in to try and finish up the Roche, but does not have nearly the farm that NB had in that game. And now what's going to happen? Things are getting even crazier. Buyback from the Skywrath Mage. Roshan's still not dead. And
Viper's back.
What is happening here, GoDz?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I mean, that was a question. I guess Earthshaker was like thinking they were going to go into Roshan, but positioning himself in the river was not the play. EHOME now, they're going to look to re-engage here. Super's going to be careful on the Bristleback. He's getting very low early on. The Vacuum not going to succeed as Old Chicken's BKB. Super's going to need a Grave soon. It comes out maybe half a second too soon, but at least it keeps him alive for now. Doesn't go for the TP. Instead, he's going to get surged back, healed back up as well. Nice ice on the low ground, caught up by a Searing Chain's Mystic Flare, goes down, and Super, he's back in, and without a Grave this time, he's going to be very careful. He's trying to cut around, knows that the Queen of Pain is back, but this is a Queen of Pain without a Sonic Wave, who's also starts up. Blake, Echo, FY, catches out too perfectly. He's got a Fissure in a second here, going to lock in CTY, Blink Scream from End, and there we go. Finally, a team comes out on top of this Roshan fight, and it's Vici Gaming.
So 3 consecutive Roshan fights just to get the one Rosh. FY with the patience, makes the plays.
That was almost a Roche snipe from the Ice Shards. I think it was just didn't actually quite have the range on the Ice Shards.
Nice attempt.
And that was what I thought would happen last time during the fight, except EHOME made the decision to jump on FY because of where he was positioned, which was just in kind of plain sight in the river. If he was positioned like further back on around the Dire Ancients, I think it would have been a much easier place for him to make a counter initiation play from, but this time, Vici Gaming, make no mistake, they secure Roche.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it is going to be Vici Gaming coming out ahead, building up a net worth lead, building up an experience lead, going to grab some more items as well. ZYF has his Orchid up now. BKBs on both sides have been whittled down actually, have they been whittled down? I keep forgetting that the stupid pop-out doesn't show the BKB durations. I really wish it did. Yeah, I was like, Viper 10 seconds, but both 7 seconds. Yeah. So that is showing up a little bit, but still relatively healthy for both of them. The Queen of Pain's much more reliant, obviously, than the Viper is, but she's got the edges.
I guess for Queen of Pain, it's just like you just want to get out of the Skywrath silence. There's like a snowball as well you'd maybe want to dodge, but for the most part, it's just like pop it as soon as you get Skywrath silence, and it doesn't matter if it's 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah.
A lot of the other stuff goes through BKB anyways, like the Walrus Punch, the Ember damage.
Vici wasting no time putting this Aegis to use. Gonna start sieging away on top. Little bit early, perhaps. The Dazzle isn't here to keep them all topped off, so it looks like they are just gonna have to wait for him to arrive. Gonna have a Vlad's picked up as well here by Ice. It looks like Vici are really gonna start snowballing this on the offensive, especially with these last few item pickups.
That's very aggressive and very much wanting to fight now. I think I don't know if they've been catching some of the other Bristle games, but knowing that this hero will fall off, and I think late game EHOME with Viper Ember are actually going to have the superior late game. And that's where they want to get the Vlads, try and be able to take towers and win fights now and get the biggest possible advantage to keep the Bristleback relevant for as long as possible. Because it was, I think an Alliance game yesterday where a Bristleback had like 10 to 15k net worth ahead of the closest hero in net worth and still could not close out the game, could not win. And Alliance just kind of turtled up and managed to eventually win the game.
CTY, he remnanted it away, but he's actually out of remnants now for 18 seconds, and Vici are hounding him. He might be able to get the silence. 11 actually blinked away already, thinking that CTY was going to be fine. And looks like he is. Move speed is going to be enough to get him out, but Vici once again pressuring forward onto another tower here as all 5 heroes arrive on mid. And we're gonna go! Jump in! Echo 2 down immediately! Mega kill for ZYF. Old Chicken also getting pummeled. The weave minus armor stacking up. ZYF blinks in aggressively, gets a silence on the Kaka. And Vici gonna take this tower no problem.
What a team fight. Vacuum Echo, that was beautiful. And EHOME just couldn't even react. They felt like, oh, we're positioned well enough here, but the vacuum just pulled them all together, and before they could react, it was just 2 heroes down. And even when it's 2 supports, like that just leaves the Viper too exposed to fight into a Bristleback Queen of Pain. And importantly, everyone on Vici was still healthy at the end of that.
Yeah, and they're just gonna keep on going. Glyph's already being used. I mean, it's relatively low respawns on both the Tusk and the Skywrath, but they're still working at this, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get Vici to leave all that easily. CTY's already made his way back, going to start laying out the slight damage. Old Chicken in some trouble, gets force-staffed a little bit further away, but it's not at a great angle, and he's just going to get right-click down, it seems. No buyback up for this Viper, and VG, sensing blood in the water, going to start pressing forward even further. Had an Orchid coming out. CTY not going to be able to throw another slight, just getting delayed here by YJ. I haven't been able to claim the melee barracks just yet. This Tombstone's doing work along with the Sigil.
I think if they heal back up, like Shadow Wave and Greaves, they'll go back in. Because with the Viper dead, they are so much stronger right now. And they're going to go in with the BKB Bristleback. He's looking for kills here. The Fissure is there. CTY silence up. They got the damage to bring him out. No, he's going to get the Remnant out. Just barely escapes back to the safety of his own base. And Vici Gaming bringing themselves to back off a little bit here. Is this a re-engage? No, they're actually going to fully TP out. And just the range racks, despite having a 5v4 with Viper dead without buyback, they don't manage to get anything more.
Yeah, they've only got the 30 seconds remaining on Aegis as well, and it looks like a couple of them are sitting on quite a bit of current gold. Ice has 2.7k, Queen of Pain's got 3k, and the Earthshaker, in fact, is sitting at the top of the current gold chart right now. 3.3k. He's going to pick up a Shadow Blade here for FY, so I feel like this is maybe even just a little bit to hound the Ember Spirit some more and give them some more ways to catch him out, because it is going to be really important for CTY to keep split pushing, keep farming, and you know, start scaling further and further into the late game, since he is the big threat for EHOME here.
Yeah. Well, and like, on that point to explain, like normally with just the Blink Dagger, your only initiation is a Blink Echo Slam, because both Totem and Fissure have cast time, so a good Ember Spirit will always Remnant away when he sees you try to Blink Totem him. But with the Shadow Blade, you Shadow Blade in, and you're guaranteed to, you can lead with a Totem or a Fissure while your teammates back you up. He will run into CTY here, but without the backup, he can't get this kill on his own.
There are some heroes moving into the vicinity, but it's more Radiant than Dire, and FY's in some trouble. Needs to survive a few seconds to get the Shadow Blade off. Looks like he might not be able to. Ice comes in with the Greaves, tries for the save, has Surge up in 1 second, but still gets caught out by the chains. And looks like it might actually be a couple of lives lost here. Side of his chains combo is off cooldown. C2I looking to lock down Ice is going to get it. TP comes in from Super, but the Mystic Flare is just going to drop Ice. And that's a double kill picked up by Kaka of all heroes. End of the day.
Yeah, FY, yeah, a bit cocky. I mean, he didn't expect to get scouted after the Shadow Blade wore off, and once he'd been spotted there, he needed a cooldown. And EHOME did not have detection as well, because that's the other thing with the Shadow Blade. It's going to force out a lot of sentries, gems to be purchased if they want to deal with it, and unfortunately for him, he just got caught at the wrong time with it on cooldown. Super also got caught though around the Ancients.
Yeah, Super in a little bit of trouble. BKB. Does have a BKB, going to come running in. Looks like 11 just going to go for the TP out. He's fine. Super's rampaging into the middle of this, and ZYF arrives as well with his BKB active. Lamb's very low. One last cool spray going to finish him off, and taking some damage, but does manage to blink away to the side. C2I is going to give pursuit. Old Chicken running away from the Bristleback. Kaka doing the same, has a Force Staff in a couple of seconds, but he doesn't have a TP scroll at the moment. Just going to drop the Tombstone and try and live as long as he possibly can, but that is not long enough in the face of the Bristle, who does end up picking up a double kill end of this fight. Just support heroes, though, going down.
Yep. And the BKB is being used. Bristle now down to 8 seconds. Quap at 6. I believe Viper down to at least 6. No, he's down to 5 seconds as well, so these BKBs almost fully diminished in the form of the Bristle and the Queen of Pain and the Viper. And Bristle starting to chew through his a little bit as well. I think Vici Gaming, though, with the next Roshan, as well as possibly with something like an Assault Caress coming out for Super, will be in a good position to go for another high ground push. We're just not seeing the item progression that you kind of need to fight right now out of cdec.y. He needs that additional item on top of the Battle Fury Manta. You need to get the defensive item in the Manta against the Cop Orchid, but as a result, the high ground defense is somewhat just non-existent. He's actually got a Deso recipe. I'm not sure if he's going to complete this. I feel he's going to get a lot more out of a Daedalus, but if you get the Deso like earlier and you're snowballing as an Ember, it's a really nice item, but defending high ground, the Daedalus is just generally going to be a better pickup.
Yeah. From memory, I think he picked up the Deso recipe, like, you know, under duress, thinking that he was going to lose gold. So, I guess we'll see. I do definitely agree with you that the Daedalus is probably the better pickup. We might see Vici waiting a bit here. They're just about to pick up a couple of items, like you were talking about, and Roshan's not too far away, though. EHOME have given them a pretty hard time about trying to take Roshan in the past. 11's going to get caught at top lane. FY getting the solo kill on the Earthshaker. Old Chicken gets Force Staffed away and Glimmer Caped on mid, so looks like he's going to be alright. Yeah, Tusk goes down.
And it looks like that would be a tier 2 tower top, so not going to go for the riskier play on mid for the melee racks and just get what looks to be a free tier 2 here. That's a nice pickup. Getting a pickoff like that and then a tier 2 tower while you don't have Aegis at this stage of the game really benefits Vici Gaming a lot. It's just very efficient for them. Now they can look to fall back. Roach has already respawned, and they'll still linger around this mid lane, but it's going to be, I imagine, just a matter of time before they feel their lanes are pushed out sufficiently. They can just make a beeline towards that Roche pit.
Yeah, and they've already opened up the EHOME base entirely now, so if they get their hands on the Aegis, could be big. Vici's actually going to jump in. They want the free melee backs here. They're going to see if EHOME are going to try and defend. And if they win this fight, this could be amazing. Old Chicken right-clicking away onto Super, but they've still got backup. The Weave armor is actually ticking up, and they've got the Greaves as well, so not really taking any damage from the Viper or from the Ember Spirit at the moment. They get the melee backs, now they're just trying to make their escape. FY gets brought down, but they vacuum 3 into the Sonic Wave. C2Y gets bashed, trying to make his escape, doesn't have a Remnant up, gets the Manta off. Will he be able to make his way back up onto the high ground? Just barely gets enough mana to be able to make the jump. ZYF getting right-click down will actually end up falling. Old Chicken fighting against Super, who gets surged forward. Now Grave looking for more. Gets the double. It's 2 for 3 so far. And Vici, can they get everybody else out? Fenrir's actually really low. Well, not low, but kind of isolated here. Doesn't have a TP scroll. Wants to try and get out of here with this gem. Super's going to come in for the backup. Ice has Greaves at the ready once again. Another snowball out of 11. Not looking great for EHOME, but can they get everybody out? Blink away from 11. And that is going to be that, though. Still a great fight for Vici, and what a combo.
I mean, that was a little, like, looking at, like, late game, I'm thinking, oh, Bristleback going to get kited, but he's just getting surged around every fight. He's got this ridiculous damage output, and the Viper Strike and just general slows from Poison Attack Corrosive not slowing him down when he's getting these surges. He attacks a little bit slower than he otherwise would be, but the most important thing is he's at least attacking. And as a result, Vici Gaming just get kill after kill, and there's not really an answer to this Bristleback. He can even stay locked onto a Viper who just isn't as farmed or as scary as he needs to be. The successful Vipers we've seen lately have been like one of those top 1, top 2 net worth heroes, and right now Viper's sitting at number 5 on the net worth chart. Still trying to complete an AC, it looks like. And if this Viper had like an AC as well as like another item on top of that, yeah, I think EHOME would be able to take these fights a lot better, and unfortunately that's just not the case right now.
Yeah, it really seems for Old Chicken that this Midas maybe hasn't accelerated him in quite the way that he was hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, he's been sitting on a lot of gold in the last couple of fights as well, and so it's showing up in his net worth, but not really showing up in his effectiveness at the moment. And
and having to go for the BKB, it probably was a necessary item. You're against Darkseer, Earthshaker, and all that, but like the very successful Vipers like Fat has been playing it for Liquid in their best of 5 win against Empire was very much going for more carry or like pure carry oriented items. It was going like Manta, AC, Heart of Terras. So it wasn't, I mean, carry as well as tank items. So you could do good damage output and stay alive. The BKB gives you a small window where you're magic immune, but once it's worn off, you're not getting anything out of the item compared to having like a Manta or a Heart of Terras. So partially the problem is that he's fallen off, and then the other part is just
Crit Shaker doesn't have the enchant totem up.
He's actually got
he wants some backup. He's just hoping. He's
got
asking for backup right now, but no, never mind.
Last time we went for a play like that, things suddenly kind of went against Vici Gaming. That was when him and Ice both died.
Yeah, they don't have a ton of vision, and it is It is to EHOME's credit, they've been doing a really good job of keeping their side of the map dewarded whenever Vici kind of make an expedition over towards the Radiant base, so they still have some relatively safe areas to farm, and I think that's a big part of the reason why FY doesn't try and make any kind of play there. It doesn't really know where all of EHOME are. Lamb tries for the TP out, but the Hex! Is that that's an ice Hex? Oh my word.
Yeah, the Glimmer just wore off and he got the Hex off. That was just right at the last millisecond. There's 2 Hexes on this Vici side, both Quap and Darkseid with a Hex. Quap not a big surprise, but yeah, Ice is filthy rich this game.
Yeah, I knew that the Queen of Pain had a Hex, and I was like, I saw the Hex and I thought, oh, the Queen of Pain just arrived in time, but no, it's actually Ice who's managed to pick that one up, so yeah, he is crazy farmed. He's had a really good game, actually.
Yeah, to me, I think he's almost like been the somewhat MVP so far for Vici Gaming. He's really come up when they've needed him, as far as a lot of the fights that they've won. And see, Vici Gaming look to break high ground. They've got an Aegis in hand, and it's defending this bottom lane very difficult.
Nice back in. They're only going to get the Echo Slime on 1. It's 11, but the Fisher still manages to catch Kaka out a little bit further back. They use their 2 Hexes, I believe, here. Old Chicken just getting right-clicked down. Cannot stand in the face of the Bristleback. cdec.y doing his best in the midst of this fight. A couple of buybacks going to start coming out. FY gets Grave and surged a little bit further away back to safety. Ice also trying to escape. cdec.y comes back with another big sided fist, but Super's still tanky on the front lines, and the Queen of Pain still has this Aegis. The Hexes are cooling down right now, and that has to be a concern. cdec.y in the midst of everything needs to be careful, does have a remnant to escape, but trying to live life on the edge in the patch of fog behind the tree, and gonna right-click away onto Old Chicken. He's just getting worked away at by the weave. Once again, huge vacuum, nice Grave, and will just not go down, and even if he does, he's got the Aegis. They will finally lose Super, but the costs for EHOME are heavy, but they still hold.
It's still a hold for now, yeah. They've killed off Bristle and Shaker, though, so they're actually gonna hold a Rax against an Aegis push. It was a bit of a heavy cost having to go through the Viper buyback and well, dieback in that case, but ultimately holding a Rax against what looked like possibly a game-ending push is that's the outcome EHOME were hoping for. Just being able to hold, being able to just buy themselves some more time to get cdec.y another item. cdec.y gets a huge amount of gold out of that fight. He actually farmed up a Desolator, and then with that he gets another 3 to 4k gold. He can go back for that Daedalus, and if they can just drag this game out, Vici Gaming's lineup eventually will start to fall off, I feel.
Yeah. The danger of the Hexes are still there, but they do have the potential Tusk counter-initiation, so if 11 is on point, might be able to save cdec.y, and yeah, the damage is definitely going to start ramping up once he starts looking at this Daedalus. I guess the game is still close enough where maybe you don't consider a Rapier just yet, but
I think it's close enough.
Yeah.
And you've got your teammates still getting items. It's not like your teammates are completely out of the game. Viper's going to have the AC soon, so that will help out.
Is he?
Old Chicken.
Oh, yeah, he is. Alright. I thought after that buyback he might be a bit far away, but...
He's had these exact same items for like 20 minutes now. It's actually... He had a ridiculously fast Treads mech BKB. He was probably number 1 or number 2 next to the Bristleback in net worth, but he's fallen off tremendously. But he's been this close to like the AC for a long time. And the problem is he just wanted to save a little bit of money for a buyback, for the high ground defense. So now with buyback on cooldown, I guess he can buy out all his items.
Regeneration.
cdec.y picks up a Demon Edge, so most likely we'll see the Daedalus come out. Doesn't have to worry about any evasion for the time being.
Yeah, there is a Solar Crest on the Dazzle, but that's the extent of it. And even then, I don't know if MKB is all that impressive. 11, not going to get gooed. Super actually goos up the creep there. Coming around the corner, 11 trying to make his escape, but the Blink is still on cooldown, and he's going to get hexed up. Locked down and brought down. Does have buyback available. Let's see if Vici are going to... I think they're at least going to try and squeeze this buyback out of him by pushing the bottom lane.
This is still a risky push to go for. High ground defensive EHOME we've seen already, and this time there's no Aegis. Viper's got the Assault Caress. Last time was very much a Viper buyback that helped propel them back into the fight.
Vici, they've got the Weave stacking up. Old Chicken not going to do too much. Just an immediate buyback. The Vacuum in onto 3, but where's the follow-up? Nothing just yet. Sonic Wave's going to catch a few, but Lamb's still fairly tanky and stuck in the middle of all of this. Fenrir close enough for a Grave if required. Old Chicken being focused down first. They know that he won't be able to buy back, so they eliminate the Viper immediately. Ice, meanwhile, just sitting off to the side. Super gonna keep on working. 11 trying to stall this out. Super actually getting dropped extremely low by the Mystic Flare. Grave a little bit preemptive, but at least being safe. Ice now the one in some trouble. There's a Glimmer Cape. Is there going to be enough damage from the cdec.y cleave? Another vacuum into the Echo Slam. FY with the patience. Finds a second kill here. cdec.y still going to work with the Slight. Another jump away towards the Remnant, but do they have the catch? N jumps forward, does not have the Orchid. It's on cooldown for another couple of seconds. Kako with another Force Staff away. But EHOME are looking battered and bruised. And they're going to head back to the fountain as Vici claim the second laner X here.
I can't believe Ice gets out there. Like, that's just ridiculous. He just hides himself on the high ground and then blinks out as the Arcane Bolt's about to hit him.
And another vacuum comes in into the fissure from the side FY. That has got to be it. No buybacks left in it.
He just finds like these 2-3 hero vacuums to start off every single fight. And then it's followed up by the FY fissure onto multiple heroes. Like, every single fight is just Ice leading the way with these vacuums.
And the other terrifying thing is that FY is reading these fights so well that, you know, it's not rushing in every single vacuum. It was the second vacuum that fight where he really chose to commit in and use the Echo, and that was the nail in the coffin for EHOME. But still a pretty close game overall. I feel like EHOME just didn't expect how well Vici were going to be able to fight in the early to mid game, because you look at their lineup, you look at the plan that they had all the way through the draft, and it was very much, alright, our plan from the word go is that we're going to 5-man, we're going to fight in the early to mid game. And they tried to deny Vici the heroes that would be, you know, that would cause them issues with that strategy, but Vici still find a really solid composition to just go brawl against them 5-on-5.
I think of some of those mid-game fights. I mean, those mid-game fights were ridiculously close. Like, that Roche fight was like 3 to 4 separate fights that could have gone either way. I mean, let's just say EHOME somehow squeak out on top of that, get themselves an Aegis for Viper. Viper would not have fallen off. It was very much that sequence of fights at the Roche where Viper died once or twice, and then suddenly it was Vici Gaming getting Aegis and able to take a couple of towers as well as push the mid lane off of that. I feel the biggest problem for EHOME was that the Viper fell off, which only happened because of 1 or 2 fights that were really 50-50 that they just happened to lose. So I think this game was actually very neck and neck. If Viper managed to just get up the AC and the Heart of Tarrasque, like another item, while Vici Gaming got slowed down a bit more, this was a very different game. It was just the fact that Super just got a little bit out of hand at the end and had the Darkseer making all the plays around him that set so much up. So very, very close game in the end, despite Vici Gaming seemingly just somewhat methodically going from one lane to the next with Aegis. I don't think it was quite as straightforward as that for them.
Yeah, and it was a good game, it was a close game, and it's only game 1 of a best of 5, so we still have lots more action to enjoy moving forward. So I think that about wraps it up for game 1, and let's get to it. I don't know if Winter is around now, so I don't know if he's going to be joining me.
Yeah, he's here. He'll be joining for game 2 and all.
Alright,
so
awesome.
He's arisen.
Nice. Finally around. So I'm going to be joined by Winter for game 2, guys. Stick around. We'll see you soon.